Hello, my name is Leah Sugarman. Welcome to this flow toward extended hand to big toe pose, or Utthita Hasta Padangusthasana. For this practice, you'll want to have a yoga strap or anything that's similar to this. So you could have a towel or the belt of a robe or a real belt or anything that you can just hold onto around your leg. You may wish to have a yoga block or anything similar, so like a thick book, but that's not essential. It just might help you in your practice today. So grab those things, and when you're ready, come to lie down on your back with your strap or whatever substitute you have nearby. And bend your knees, plant your feet onto the floor. And you can let your knees knock in toward each other. Maybe you'll want to walk your feet out as wide as your mat, so just get comfortable here. Soften the weight of your upper body down. Visualize the weight of your thigh bones kind of drawing down with gravity in towards your hip sockets. And let your lower back melt to the floor, and then rest your arms anywhere that feels comfortable for you. Take a moment to either soften your gaze or close your eyes. And just draw your awareness inside as you settle into your body to prepare for your practice. Bring your attention to your breath. Notice its natural rhythm. And you can decide if you want to keep this rhythm or if you want to deepen it. Maybe you'd like to expand your inhales and expand your exhales. Maybe you already have a really full deep breath and you just like to keep that same rhythm. So whatever you choose, just find a pace to your breath. Something that's slow and steady and that can remain consistent as you move. And if you'd like to, maybe set an intention for your practice today. Some greater purpose and meaning for stepping onto your mat. Maybe today's intention is to bring your awareness inside in this forward folding practice. Maybe you'd like to just dive deeper within. So once you feel really connected to this, refocus your gaze or flutter your eyes open. And then walk your feet to be roughly hip distance apart and point your knees to the sky. Now catch a hold of your strap or your towel or whatever you have and draw your right knee in towards your chest. And then loop your strap or your towel around the ball of your right foot and stretch your right foot straight up toward the sky. So you're welcome to keep your knee bent, or if it feels appropriate for you, you could work your leg towards straight. So just find the most comfortable position right now. And remember, you're still very early on in your practice, so take it easy here. Now activate your right foot, flex your right ankle, and then press up through the ball of your foot. So you really press against your strap. Pull down with both hands equally and soften the weight of your shoulders into the floor. Really plug your upper arm bones in toward your shoulder sockets. Now you have the option to stay here or option to stretch and extend your left leg out long. And if you take that option, really scissor your legs apart from each other. So activate your left leg, flex your left ankle, press out through the ball of your left foot, and then draw your legs apart from each other. Just notice any places where you feel sensation right now. Notice if your breath has changed already. And if it has, just bring back that steady rhythm. And then catch a hold of both ends of the strap with your right hand. Release your left hand to your hip and really keep your left hip grounded to the floor. Keep the activation you've created in your right leg. Inhale deeply here. And as you exhale, slowly open your right leg over toward the right side of your mat. Only move as far as you're able to keep your left hip grounded. And again, your left leg could be bent or straight, whatever feels most comfortable for you right now. Keep pressing out through the ball of your right foot, but hug your thigh bone in towards your hip socket. Again, just bring your awareness back to the place wherever you feel sensation. Maybe the sensation has changed slightly. And observe how it affects your breath. On your next inhale, slowly draw your right leg back towards center. Bend your knee deeply, release your strap, and plant your foot to the floor. If your left leg is straight, bend it again now. Plant your foot against the mat and just pause. Take notice of any changes that you might feel from side to side. And then when you're ready, draw your left knee in towards your chest, loop your strap around the ball of your left foot, and stretch and extend your left leg toward the sky. You're welcome to keep your knee bent as little or as much as you would like. Activate your left foot, flex your ankle, press up through the ball of your left foot and spread your toes. And then counter this by pulling down against your strap with both hands. Plug your upper arm bones in toward your shoulder sockets so you really feel your upper arms press down against the mat. Plug your thigh bone in toward your hip socket. So you feel this opposition of energy as the ball of your foot reaches up toward the sky and your thigh bone sinks down toward the earth. Option to stay as you are, or option to extend your right leg towards straight and activate your right foot. Press out through the ball of your foot, flex your ankle, and then energetically draw your legs apart from each other. Take notice of any place where you might feel sensation. Take notice of how this might affect your breath. Now on your next breath, hold onto both ends of your strap with your left hand. Release your right hand onto your right hip and ground it to the floor. Inhale, press up through the ball of your left foot, and then exhale, slowly open your hip toward the left side of your mat this time. And again, only go as far as you're able to keep your right hip grounded. You're welcome to bend your left knee. You're welcome to keep your right knee bent. So just pay attention now to any changes in sensation. Pay attention to any changes within your breath. And then on your next breath, slowly draw your leg back towards center. Bend deeply into your left knee, release your strap, plant your foot down to the floor. You can move your strap over to the side of your mat now. Bend your right knee if it's straightened, and plant both feet on the floor. Pause for a moment, just observe. Now from here, reach and extend both legs straight up toward the sky. You're welcome to keep your knees bent or work your legs towards straight. Just find what feels comfortable for you right now. Activate your feet, flex your ankles, press up through the balls of your feet and spread your toes. Energetically scissor your legs toward each other, hug into the midline. Interlace your fingers behind the back of your head and soften the weight of your head down into your arms. Elongate the back of your neck. Hug in around your belly and press your lower back into the floor. Keep this much action through your core. Imagine that you're tightening a corset around your whole waistline. Keep this three-dimensional hug in. Take a full breath in. And as you exhale, lift your head and chest up off the floor. Turn your torso toward the left and draw your right elbow toward your left knee as you stretch and extend your right leg down to hover above the floor. Inhale, come back to center with your torso, reach your right leg back up. Exhale, spin your torso toward the right this time. Draw your left elbow toward your right knee. Hover your left leg above the floor. Inhale, come back to center. Exhale, twist to the left. Hover your right leg above the floor. Inhale, come back to center. Exhale, twist to the right. Hover your left leg above the floor. Now continue to move. Follow your own rhythm of breath. Notice any subtle changes that might be happening within the breath. Notice where you feel sensation. Take one more breath in each direction. And then on your next breath, hug both knees in toward your chest. Catch a hold behind your knees and gently start to rock and roll along the length of your spine. Slowly start to gain some momentum so that you can rise up into a seat and ground down into your sitting bones. Lift up tall through the crown of your head. Roll your shoulders back, draw your shoulder blades together, and expand your heart forward toward your thighs. Flex your ankles, squeeze your legs together, and lean your weight back slightly so that you can lift your heels from the floor and draw your shins parallel to it. Keep hugging your legs together, root down into your sitting bones, lift up tall through your back body. Option to stay holding behind the knees or option to reach your arms forward in front of you. Keep lifting up tall through the crown of your head, stabilize your breath, observe where you feel sensation. Observe how it might affect your breath. Inhale deeply here. Exhale, release your feet to the floor. Release your hands to the floor and stretch your legs forward in front of you. Option to elevate your hips. You may wish to sit onto your block now if you have it. Or if it feels comfortable, you could stay grounded to the floor. Kick out through your feet. Press out through the balls of your feet and ground your heels down into the mat. Energetically slide your heels back toward your sitting bones and use the same energy to slide your sitting bones toward your heels, all energetically. Take your fingertips back behind your hips, root down against your hands and lift up tall through your spine. Inhale deeply here. Exhale, option to stay as you are or fold forward over your legs. And as you literally fold in on yourself, maybe bring your attention inward. Notice sensation. Notice your breath. If you folded, inhale to slowly rise back up. Cross your ankles, remove any props over to the side of your mat. Roll forward onto all fours, and then tuck your toes underneath, send your hips up high into downward facing dog. So find an appropriate position for you in down dog. Root firmly into your hands, lift out of your shoulders. Tip your pelvis forward as if you're tipping the contents of your pelvic bowl forward and down toward the floor so that you can send your sitting bones higher and lengthen your spine. Bend deeply into your right knee and stretch and straighten your left leg. And then switch sides. Bend your left knee deeply, straighten your right leg as much as you can. Continue to pedal out your feet, walk from side to side, move at your own pace. Find a rhythm that you like. Take one more breath on each side. And then find yourself back into a neutral downward facing dog. On an inhale, sweep your right leg up toward the sky. And as you exhale, step your foot forward and through, place it next to your right thumb. Soften your back knee down to the floor, root firmly against the mat, rise to your fingertips, and lengthen your spine. Sink the weight of your hips low, but lift your spine up away from your pelvis. Inhale deeply here. And as you exhale, lean the weight of your hips back until they align over your left knee. Walk your fingertips in closer toward your body and flex your right ankle. Lift your toes from the floor. Option to keep your right knee bent or option to slide your heel forward slightly and straighten your leg. Root your right heel firmly into the mat and energetically slide your heel toward the back of the mat. Use the same amount of energy to slide your left knee forward toward the top of the mat. Keep this much action in your base as you lengthen your spine. An option to stay as you are or hinge from your hips and fold forward over your front leg. Observe sensation. Observe your breath. Now if you folded, inhale, slowly rise back up. Bend deeply into your right knee. Bring your fingertips back to frame out your front foot. Ground your right foot to the floor. Tuck your left toes underneath and lift your left knee off the mat. Step your left foot in about one of your own foot's distance. And then angle your toes out just slightly toward the top left corner of your mat as you release the weight of your left heel toward the floor. It doesn't need to reach, but maybe it does. Ground down firmly into your fingertips, root down against your front foot, and maybe start to stretch and straighten your front leg as much as you comfortably can. Energetically scissor your legs toward each other. So without movement, just energetically slide your right heel toward the back of the mat and slide your left heel toward the top of your mat. Notice how this action helps to square your hips forward and then elongate and lengthen your spine. Stretch the crown of your head toward the top of your mat. Option to stay as you are, or option to keep that length in your spine as you fold and release the weight of your torso forward and down over your front leg. As you literally fold in on yourself, take notice of sensation and observe your breath. Now if you folded, inhale, lift your torso halfway up. Ground down into your left fingertips. You always have the option to place a block underneath your hand as well on any height setting that you like. Draw your right hand to your hip and elongate the crown of your head forward and use your hand to manually draw your right hip toward the back of your mat. Keep this much length in your spine as you spiral and rotate your whole torso toward the right. Option to reach your right arm to the sky. Inhale deeply. Exhale fully. Inhale deeply. Exhale fully. Bring your gaze down toward the mat and softly bend into your front knee. Take your left fingertips onto either your block or onto the floor into the top left corner of your mat. Focus your eyes onto one non-moving point on the floor and shift your weight into your right leg as you root down against the floor and float up off of your left leg. Immediately scissor your legs apart from each other, ground into your right leg, kick your left leg back, lengthen your spine forward and spin your heart open toward the right. Inhale deeply. Exhale, slowly unwind your twist. Release your right fingertips to a prop or the floor. Bend into your right knee and release your left foot down to the mat. Fold forward over your legs. Let the weight of your upper body become heavy. Maybe catch a hold of opposite elbows if that feels comfortable for you. And let your whole torso hang toward the floor. You're welcome to bend your knees as much as you would like to here. Inhale deeply. Exhale, release your hands down toward the mat if they're not there already. Bend your knees deeply to plant your palms to the floor and step back into downward facing dog. Inhale, sweep your left leg to the sky. As you exhale, step your foot forward and through, place it next to your left thumb. Soften your back knee to the floor, rise to your fingertips, lengthen your back body. Sink the weight of your hips down toward the mat, but lift the crown of your head up away from it. Inhale here. Exhale, shift the weight of your hips back to align over your right knee. Walk your fingertips in closer toward your body and flex your left ankle. Lift your toes from the mat. Option to keep your left knee bent or slide your left heel forward and work your leg towards straight. Root your left heel down into the floor and energetically slide your heel toward the back of your mat. With the same amount of energy, slide your right knee toward the top of your mat. Lengthen your spine, an option to stay as you are, or exhale, hinge from your hips and fold forward over your front leg. Now, if you take that option and literally fold in on yourself, take notice of sensation. Take notice of your breath. If you folded, slowly rise back up. Bend deeply into your left knee, plant your foot to the floor, bring your fingertips back to frame out your front foot. Tuck your right toes underneath and lift your right knee off the floor. Step your right foot forward about one step, and then turn your toes out ever so slightly toward the top right corner of your mat, and release your heel down toward the floor. No need for it to touch, just work that energy downward. Ground down into your front foot and work your front leg toward straight as far as you comfortably can. Energetically scissor your legs toward each other. Draw your left hip back, roll your right hip forward, and stretch the crown of your head forward in space. Option to stay as you are, or option to hinge from your hips and fold forward over your front leg. Tune in with your breath. Now, if you folded forward, inhale to slowly rise back up. Ground down into your right fingertips. You are welcome to be onto a prop here, and draw your left hand to your hip. Stretch the crown of your head toward the top of your mat. Use your hand against your hip to manually draw your left hip toward the back of your mat. And keep this much length in your spine as you spiral and twist your whole torso toward the left. Option to reach your left arm to the sky. From here, bring your gaze down to the floor, softly bend into your front knee, and take your right fingertips either to a prop or to the mat in the top right corner. Focus your gaze on one non-moving point and ground down firmly into your left foot to spring off of your back leg and immediately kick and extend it back behind you. Scissor your legs apart from each other. Lengthen the crown of your head forward and keep the rotation in your torso as you spin your heart open toward the left. Inhale deeply. Exhale fully. Inhale deeply. Exhale slowly. Unwind your twist. Release your left fingertips toward the floor. Bend into your standing leg and release your right foot beside your left. Fold the weight of your torso forward and down over your legs. Let everything hang heavy toward the mat. On your next inhale, lift your torso halfway up. You can rest your hands on your thighs, your shins, or the floor. Lengthen the crown of your head forward. Reach your tailbone back behind you. Exhale, fold and release forward. Again, just like that. Inhale, lift up halfway. Elongate your spine. Exhale, fold forward and release. Inhale, lift up halfway. Exhale, fold forward and release. And this next time, inhale, rise all the way up to stand and catch a hold of your strap or whatever substitute you have. Find a strong and stable mountain pose. So root down firmly into your feet. Let them be roughly hip distance apart. Ground down against the floor. Spread your toes wide. Lift up tall through the crown of your head. Pour your weight into your left leg and rise to the ball of your right foot. You can just swing your strap over your shoulder for now. Bring your palms to meet at your heart. Focus your eyes onto one non-moving point in front of you and keep your gaze locked there. When you feel stable, lift your right foot off the floor and immediately activate your core. Three-dimensionally hug in around your waistline. Take a hold of your strap and loop it around the ball of your right foot. Kick your foot into your strap. Ground down into your standing leg. An option to stay here or option to stretch and extend your right leg forward in front of you. Press out through the ball of your right foot and plug your thigh bone in toward your hip socket. Plug your arm bones in toward your shoulder sockets. Stabilize your breath. From here, take a hold of both ends of the strap in your right hand. Draw your left hand to your hip. Keep the activation in your right leg as you scissor your legs apart from each other. Inhale deeply here. And as you exhale, open your hip out toward the right side of your mat and strive to keep your hips level. Try to avoid letting your right hip pop toward the sky. So keep extending out through the ball of your right foot. Plug your thigh bone in toward your hip socket. Option to reach your left arm out to the side. Option to turn your gaze over your left shoulder. And that might challenge your balance quite a bit. So play around with how it feels right now. Inhale to slowly draw your right leg back to center. Bend your knee deeply. Release your foot from the strap. Shake it out, let it go. Bring your strap back over your shoulder. Come back into your strong, stable mountain pose. Shift your weight into your right leg this time. Rise to the ball of your left foot and draw your hands to meet at your heart. Focus your eyes on that one non-moving point. Keep your gaze locked. And when you feel stable, lift your left foot off the floor. Draw your knee toward your chest. Hug in around your belly. Grab your strap and loop it around the ball of your left foot. Activate your left foot strongly. Really press your foot into the strap. An option to stay here or option to reach and extend your left leg forward in front of you. Really kick through the ball of your foot and simultaneously plug your thigh bone in toward your hip socket. So feel this opposition of energy through your legs. Hug your shoulders in toward your shoulder socket so you really lift and lengthen your spine. Notice where you feel sensation. Notice where you might feel a little bit wobbly. Can you bring your awareness to your breath? Turn your attention inside to find stability. Take both ends of the strap in your left hand, draw your right hand to your hip. Inhale deeply here, keep the activation through your leg. And as you exhale, open your leg out toward the left. Try your best to keep your hips as level as possible. Kick out through your left foot. You always have the option to bend your knee. Lift and lengthen through the crown of your head. Option to reach your right arm out toward the right. Option to shift your gaze over your right shoulder. Find stability in your breath. On your next breath, slowly draw your left leg back to center. Bend deeply into your knee, release your strap, move it over to the side of your mat, shake everything out, let go of your legs, let go in your arms. Come back to a neutral mountain pose position at the top of your mat. Inhale deeply as you lengthen your spine, draw your hands to your hips. Exhale, lead with your chest, hinge from your hips and fold the weight of your torso forward and down over your legs. Option to keep your hands as they are, option to hold on to the strap behind your back, or maybe interlace your fingers behind you and stretch your arms up and over your head. You can shake your head yes, shake your head no, release any tension from your neck. Inhale deeply. Exhale, slowly release your hands down toward the floor. Inhale, bend your knees deeply, graze your fingertips against the mat, sweep your arms to the sky, sit low into chair. Release your seat a little bit lower toward the mat, keep lengthening your spine, and keep going all the way down until you release your seat to the floor. Slowly find your way down onto your back. And bend your knees, plant your feet down against the mat, roughly hip distance apart. Release your arms by your sides, turn your palms to face up toward the sky, and just gently hug your shoulder blades toward each other. On an inhale, root firmly against your feet and your shoulders. Lift your hips up away from the floor. And you're welcome to stay like this, or maybe you want to wiggle one shoulder underneath you at a time And then either hold your strap or interlace your fingers behind your back. Now focus on the sensations you experience here. Throughout your practice, you've been folding forward and in on yourself. So just notice any difference in sensation now as you start to expand and open. Inhale deeply. Exhale, slowly release back down to the floor. Release your arms from behind you if they're there. Release your hips to the mat. Walk your feet out roughly as wide as your mat. Knock your knees in toward each other. Pause for a moment to either soften your gaze or close your eyes. And as you return back to this place where you began your practice, just take notice of any subtle changes. Any small changes that your practice may have created. When you feel ready, slowly hug your knees in towards your chest. Give yourself a big hug. Lift your head away from the floor. Draw your forehead towards your knees. Really curl in on yourself. Observe sensation. Observe your breath. Observe how it feels to literally fold in on yourself. Inhale deeply here. And as you exhale, let everything go. Release your head and your chest to the floor. Release your feet down to the mat. Let them be roughly as wide as your mat. Release your arms by your sides. Soften the weight of your shoulders, your pelvis, your legs, your arms, your spine, and your skull, all down into the mat. Soften your gaze or close your eyes if they aren't already. Soften your breath. Soften your mind. And allow yourself to completely turn your attention inward now. Allow yourself to completely surrender into this final resting pose, Savasana. Slowly bring your attention back to your breath. Feel it flow throughout your body and reach all the way down to your fingers and your toes. Let your breath bring small, subtle movements into your extremities. Gently wiggle your fingers, wiggle your toes. And when you feel ready, draw your knees in towards your chest. And roll onto one side. And then gently press the floor away from you to rise up into a comfortable seat. Feel free to sit onto any props that you'd like to here. Grow tall through your spine. Maybe look down toward the floor or close your eyes. Turn your awareness inside. And simply notice what you notice. Bring your palms together in front of your heart. And bow your chin in towards yourself. Take a full deep inhale with humility. And exhale, bow forward deeply. Thank you for sharing your practice. Namaste. I'll see you next time.